What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're finally looking at a Calyrex Shadow Rider team that I'm actually going to like. So we used the hyper offensive Zacian variant, and actually that team was actually really good. After I finished recording that, I kept going with it, and it was really nice. But it's not my cup of tea, you know. I don't really play hyper offensive stuff, but this one I do. With Calyrex Shadow Rider and Groudon, I feel like is a very strong combination, just because of the kinds of supporting mons that you're gonna bring, right? So the obvious thing is, you know, Calyrex can go for the spread move of Astral Barrage. We all know this. And then Groudon can also go for a spread move as well with Precipice Blades. And the benefit when you have Calyrex and Groudon on the same team is you have the option to potentially dynamax the Calyrex and go for Max Phantasm to get those defense drops, and then your Groudon just all of a sudden hits like a truck and capitalizes off of those defensive drops, right? So there's some good synergy there, but really, you know, the Calyrex doesn't really need to max, and same thing with the Groudon. You don't really need to max the Groudon. Like, can you? Yeah, you can, but you know, you don't really have to. You're more inclined to dynamax the partners that Groudon brings with it. So this way, the Groudon and the Calyrex can do big damage without the dynamax, and you know, put even more pressure on the opposing team. So how are we going to build the rest of this team? So of course you have your Groudon, and then from here, of course you're going to bring the partners with Venusaur, okay, G-Max Vinelash, of course, and we are going to make it Chlorophyll, and then here's the best partner for it right now. Of course, you know, you're slapping on the Grimmsnarl here, and you know, we've got the secondary mascot on the channel, Grimmsnarl. This is what makes all the magic work. This is what makes all the damage calcs frustrating for the opponent when they can't KO you. All right, because you have the screens Grimmsnarl. And then to round things off, of course, you're gonna have to have Incineroar here. You need that Intimidate support. You need that You need the parting shots. You need the fake outs. You know, all kinds of disruption that Incineroar likes to bring to a team, you know, and this is what helps against, you know, both Calyrexes. The Calyrex Ice Rider, you can just cycle your Intimidates. You threaten the Calyrex Shadow because you're a Dark type and you have Dark moves. So does the Grimmsnarl as well. And then, of course, Zacian, you know, you have a strong Fire move that can go into it. You can drop its attack. You can also keep cycling it just like you cycle the Calyrex Ice. Alright, and again, the Grimmsnarl's purpose is just to mitigate damage and control and slow the game down, while your sweepers just hide behind those screens and deal a lot of damage, right? And then over here, normally you might see something like a Charizard, but we're going to go a bit of a different route and go for Thunderous. And it's going to be not the Prankster one, we're going to go for the Violent one with Defiant. And the reason for this is, you know, if you think about it, you know, you have a Groudon on the team, you have a Calyrex, and even a Venusaur. So most teams are more inclined to try and bring something like an Incineroar into this, because the Fire Dark typing is really good into all three of these. However, that being said, you can counter that and make them think a little more if you bring Defiant Thunderous, because if they do bring their Incineroar, now what they're doing is they're giving you that boost, that attack boost, and then now you all of a sudden you become a strong Dynamax, and then you could potentially sweep. And what's good about Thunderous is, you know, the old archetype in Series 8 was Thunderdon, because Groudon doesn't want to take an Intimidate, but Thunderous, you know, gets that boost. So what you can also do with Thunderous is go for Air Streams, make your Groudon fast. And then what you can also do is go for those Max Knuckles, and now your Groudon hits also very hard. But because we're running the Assault Vest variant on the Thunderous, now we add a Dark move, and Dark moves drop special defenses. So now in the late game, when Thunderous's Dynamax is done, now the Calyrex can come in and deal even more damage with its Astral Barrage or a Psychic Stab move, you know, of your choice, right? So there's a lot of good synergy here, and then you can always hide behind the Grimmsnarl screens because, again, this is what makes all the damage calcs work. So this is the 6, so let's just go ahead and reveal the GIFs. Actually, I think I already have it on here. Yeah, I do. So this is the 6. I usually like to keep it a secret until I reveal the 6. But now let's just go ahead and hash out the EVs, the items, and the movesets. Okay, now I do want to show you the Calyrex, but I want to hold off on it because up until recently there was the Life Orb variant, which I'm going to show you here, of the Calyrex Shadow Rider. But after some recent events, especially from the Victory Road tournament, and some other smaller ladder tours, I've come to realize with my research that actually there is another version of Calyrex that you can run with this, and this is great for Grimmsnarl screens. Whimsicott, you like the Life Orb, but if you're gonna go defensive and if you're gonna go a little bit more slower, then there's another way to run the Calyrex, but I'll show you that in a second version of this pace. But for now, let's just do this one. So we'll start with Groudon. We'll leave the Calyrex for last, just so I can build up hype for it. So Groudon, of course, we're gonna run the Citrus Berry. All right, this is a no-brainer here, and a pretty standard moveset here with Precipice Blades, Rock Slide, Swords Dance, and Protect, right? So again, if Incineroars want to intimidate spam you can just counter that and click Swords Dance, and all of a sudden you go from -1 to +1, right? Venusaur, now here's going to be a surprise one. This is the one that I was trying, and I actually like it a lot, and I'll explain why in terms of the item. But standard moveset: Leaf Storm, Earth Power, Weather Ball, and Sleep Powder. Now again, you know, we don't really need Sludge Bomb in this kind of case because, you know, we can increase our Calyrex's special attack, but I don't think it's necessary. Now, again, with Weather Ball in the sun, you have Max Flare, which is good against those bulky steel types like Azation. So that way you have that out for Weather Ball. And then if it's raining, then you have Max Geyser for annoying fire types like Incineroar. So Weather Ball is really, really good for Venusaur. But now here's the item. It's going to be Weakness Policy, right? This is something that Colin and Audie and ran back in Series 8 with their Sun team. And you know, the idea is this, you know, if you put the Cobra Berry here, right? So you're able to take one Airstream from a Landorus or a Thundurus, right? But then they just click it again next turn and you die anyway. So what is the point of this Cobra Berry? I mean, yeah, you'll live, and I guess you get a second chance to click Sleep Powder, but then you might as well just run Focus Sash. Alright, but there's a problem with that because the Focus Sash is going to be somewhere else. But instead, why not just use this Weakness Policy? So this way you can make your Venusaur bulky, alright, take that Airstream, and then get the speed boost with your Groudon, and now all of a sudden you're +2 and you're hitting really, really hard. And you know, in a tournament with like an open team sheet, if they say you have a Weakness Policy, they're less inclined to hit you. They're more inclined to chip you with neutral hits first and then hit you with that big special attack move. But then by that time you're just clicking Sleep Powder everywhere, and you know, they're not dealing damage to your Venusaur. And on ladder it's great. You know, you take an Incineroar Flare Blitz, goodbye. You take you know, Expanding Force from an Indeedee or a Psyshock from a Calyrex behind Light Screen, it's over. So I really like Weakness Policy Venusaur. Alright, and obviously we're going to sacrifice the special attack for extra bulk here. Okay, so that's the logic there. Grimmsnarl, very standard set. Light Clay, I always don't want to click Light Ball there. So Spirit Break, you know, we have that fairy move, very good into Palkia, very good into Yveltal. So, you know, Grimmsnarl is just good overall in this meta. Reflect, Light Screen, and then Scary Face for extra speed control. This way, you know, if you're nervous about the Landorus, you can always just click Scary Face, and you know, your Venusaur can go before it if you can't quite switch into Groudon. All right, and then from here, Incineroar, standard set, Flare Blitz. All right, Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop. Right. And again, the reasoning for Throat Chop as opposed to something like Darkness Lariat is you can, if you're faster than other Incineroars, you can stop them from going for their Parting Shot, right? For the item wise, so a couple options you can do. You can do like the Shuka Berry that's coming up now. You can even do Safety Goggles. I think both are good because we have the Citrus Berry on the Groudon. I think, you know, just for like extra sun security, I think, you know, the goggles is pretty good. If you want the Shuka, you know, go for the Shuka, but I like the goggles. Now for the Thundurus, we are at Assault Verse, so this way we can better take those water spouts from the Kyogre. You know, I know we have the Venusaur for that, but you know, the Thundurus can also put more pressure there, especially if it's Tornogre, so you put pressure on both sides and you don't have to take a Hurricane into the Venusaur. So I kind of like the Thundurus a little bit more. All right, but anyway, from here, wild charge, fly. You can go for brick break, but then you'll be breaking your own screen, so I think superpower is good. And then here, this depends on the user for your dark move. You can go lash out, so this way on that turn that you get intimidated, now you get double damage. You can go for that. You can go for foul play, which is good against, you know, potential dynamax mons that have a weakness policy, and then you can just KO them. Really good into, you know, stuff like Zacian or even like an opposing Groudon that have a really high attack stat. So it's good there. Or you can go for crunch, higher base power. You know, you can drop defenses, but you know, I'm gonna keep crunch for now. I like this one over the other two, but if you like either lash out or what's the other one? Lash out or it escapes me. I was just talking about it. If you like the other one, then go for it. So crunch, lash out, and something. God, but what is that move? I was just talking about it. Foul play. That's what it was. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna keep crunch for now. All right, just because I like it more. All right, now this is. Do we have the item? Okay, so when I was testing it at the time, right, I ran with the Life Orb variant, and I'll show you two versions of this. But I kind of like the other version where you have the Focus Sash and you have the Will-O-Wisp, right? So I'll show you this version first, which is technically the second version, but I think is better. So Astral Barrage, all right, and Psyshock, this is your two stat moves. All right, no surprise here. But then a fast Will-O-Wisp is all of a sudden a new kind of meta for Calyrex, and now you're using it in more of a supporting role, not only as an offensive role. And there's always merit with the Focus Sash, right? And I hated playing against it every single time. You know, the drawback is you give up your damage, right? But the plus side is you get to stay on the field for at least an extra turn, and even if there's an opposing Grimmsnarl that clicks Sucker Punch to KO you, you still survive, and then you can get your attack off, right? And then, you know, you can always Will-O-Wisp those big physical attackers that don't want to take a Will-O-Wisp, like a Groudon, like a Zacian, like a Landorus if they don't have a Lumberry. Like a Solgaleo that's now all of a sudden starting to rise again. So if you can get this Will-O-Wisp off, really, really nice. Especially recovery mons like an Involtile that doesn't want to, you know, have a Will-O-Wisp. But yeah, it's really, really nice. And I think, what's his name? I think Jones and one other used it in the VR tour and did really well with it. So shout out to them for coming up with this. But yeah, this is like a second version, but at the time when I was testing, I was still using the Life Orb variant just because I like Life Orb Calyrex. So I'll show you this one first, and then we'll make a second pace and show you the Focus Sash version. But yeah, anyway, Astral Barrage, Mud Shot, this is really good against opposing Incineroars. Life Orb Max Quake is really, really nice. And then if you, then you can have a couple options. I think Substitute is really, really good. Or you can even go for Hyper Beam for max strike plays. But I do like I'm sorry, I click Astral Barrage. I do like the Substitute play just because, you know, you can hide behind this, and then even if there's Trick Room turns, you can stall it by alternating Substitutes and Protects. So yeah, I think this is okay. If you really want your stab move, then you can go for Psyshock here. Okay, I think that's fine, you know, if you really, really need it. This way, the benefit here is you can snipe opposing Venusaurs. So I'll leave it there for those that want it. But yeah, I do like Mud Shot. But anyway, now let's do the EVs. So here you can make it relatively simple for yourself. Again, the goal with the Life Orb Calyrex is just to deal as much damage as possible. So you can just simply do this, this, and this. Okay, 252, 252. Or you can do a tiny bit of optimization, all right, and go up to 179. Okay, just a tiny bit, and then just an extra piece of bulk in the special defense. And I remember somebody asked me this in my other video, why did you do this? You know, why did you take some of its special attack? Like, you know, you're not bulky, you might as well just keep it on there, and you know, you might change some of your damage calcs. And while that may be true sometimes, I think this much is still fine, and you know, a difference of 4 HP can really make a difference, whether you live or die. But if you choose to want to do this, you know, like this, then that's fine. But there is a calc where, you know, if a Thundurus is not max attack when they click max darkness, this is enough bulk where you can live, right? And especially if you have Grimmsnarl screens, that helps even more. But I'll keep it like this for now. All right, from here, Groudon. So main thing with Groudon that we want to try and do is, you know, just have a nice good speed tier. So let's go Adamant. Of course, this is a relatively standard Groudon set. And then from here, yeah, I think this is okay. Let's go 244 HP. No, because we have a Citrus Berry. All right, 4 defense, 76. First bump in the EVs, right? Right here, 198. And then the rest, you can dump it over here in the special defense. And I think this is totally fine. This is a standard Groudon spread. And if you want, you can do a little bit more just to outspeed those Groudons that also go for 120. All right, I think this is good. And yeah, and what this also allows you to do is when Kyogre goes for Water Spout, modest Kyogre, if there is a light screen up, if you switch in your Groudon, you can take that Water Spout and take another one, you know, in the following turn, because it just barely will crack the 50% threshold. I think it's actually 52 with this spread. I think I took a little bit off from the attack stat in here, but that's okay. You know, I'll live with that roll. Venusaur. So with our weakness policy, Venusaur, the speed stat. Well, first I'm gonna go modest, right? I want to be a hard-hitting Venusaur, and then from here I want to go to, I think 212 is a good option, right? Because, you know, if you go to 126 with the chlorophyll boost, that's 252, so you're faster than base speed 100s after their +1, but I want to outspeed that, so I'm gonna go to 127. And then from here, just first EV bump in the special attack stat, 143. It looks like nothing, right? But remember, you have a weakness policy. All right, so again, if you don't know what an EV bump is, feel free to comment in the video below. But this is our first EV bump here. Notice how you go from 141 up to the bump, and there it is, 143. So you skipped 142. All right, then from here, we're just gonna optimize our HP 175 just in case there is a change of weather, either from max rockfall from like your own Groudon, or max hailstorm from something that's using an ice move. This way we optimize your HP for that just in case. And if you do the math real quick, 175 divided by 16 is 10.9. So you're only going to be taking 10 damage of hail per turn, because 10.9 will round down to 10. So this way you optimize your HP for that. And then from here, just 12 defense, just have an even number. This way, when you click Max Quake, you get a nice whole number instead of 0.5, so it doesn't round down. So that's why we go for this. And then the rest can be dumped into defense, just a little bit more bulk. And this is going to help against those physical mons that go for Airstream, like a Landorus or like a Thundurus, especially if they're like the Life Orb variants. All right, so Grimmsnarl here. I use the same Grimmsnarl spread all the time. I always go careful. I always go 28 speed, so this way after 2 Airstreams or a -2 Scary Face, I outspeed base 100s, and then I can go for stuff like Spirit Breaks, right, into like Charizards or Zapdoses, which makes a difference, right? But anyway, let's go to the second bump here. So it should be about 116. Yep, you see how it went from 119 to 121. All right, 119, 121. There's the EV bump. Then from here, just 4 attack and up to the magic 103 prime number, and then 198 in our HP stat, right? I always use this Grimmsnarl. I think Joe also uses this Grimmsnarl a lot too. But yeah, it's a cool Grimmsnarl set. Anyway, Incin, I always use a lot of the same Incineroars most of the time. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you know how I like to use my Incineroar. I always like a fast Incineroar for many reasons. I go to 95 because first of all, you are faster than a lot of other Incins. So when you go for Throat Chop, you stop them from going for Parting Shot, because Throat Chop stops sound moves, right? So that's always important. Then the second reason is in Trick Room, your Parting Shot goes last. So if they're the slower Incineroar, which means they're faster in Trick Room, their Parting Shot goes off first. They bring in something, and then your parting shot goes next. So whatever they brought in, you just parting shotted it, and then now you bring in something that's you know, whatever you want. So those are the 2 reasons. I always say it in every video why I like a faster instant, just a little bit. Oh, and you get a faster fake out. Yeah, that's always good too. So 3 reasons. All right. Then from here, I'm just gonna go first EV bump in the special defense mark. Now some of you might like a second bump, 156, but then you have to run a slower instant, right? But we're going a little bit faster, so we have to sacrifice our bulk a little bit, but still first bump is pretty good. And then from here, attack, but basically the remainder goes in the defense, and this calc is for surviving Zacian close combat after an intimidate, bringing it to neutral, right? That's the whole purpose of this investment. So every time I look at Incineroar and I see 244 and then either 68 or 76 in the defense stat, I realize, aha, that's for Zacian close combat. All right, Thunderous spread. We had a lot of Thunderous calcs when we used Thunderous in our other video, so check that out. But it lives a lot of things like rock falls that you know you would expect to kill but not kill. But we're gonna go Jolly max speed here, and just a little bit of bulk. All right, 92 HP, 148 attack, so it looks like we still do some damage, and then the rest can go into special defense. And we're very bulky Thunderous behind screens, right? So that's always really nice. So yeah, I believe we did it all. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, so this is the first version, right? So let me just make this. Okay, so this is version 1. Again, you're hiding behind screens. You got the Venusaur with the weakness policy. You got the Instant and the Thunderous. You know, for opposing Zacians and Kyogres and other Calyrexes, because you're a Dark type. And then your Groudon is enabling your Venusaur, right? And it also puts pressure against opposing Zacians with P-Blades. But there is another version, so let me make this version. I'm just going to import this. All right, so here we go. New team, select format, import text. So now what we'll do is we'll just go 252, 252. All right, and then we'll make this focus sash. Okay, and then we'll use the brand new Calyrex. I like it like this. Ice Shock. Will-O-Wisp. All right, and Protect. Okay. We'll still keep the Venusaur weakness policy, and we'll still keep the AV on the Thunderous. Now, you might want to put the Life Orb on one of these. You can. I mean, honestly, like if I wanted to put Life Orb on the Venusaur, fine. If I wanted to put Life Orb on the Thunderous, okay. The only thing is I give up Crunch. I give up the Dark move, right? Because then if I have the Life Orb, I'm going to want to run Protect. And the Dark move is very helpful sometimes. You know, it's good against opposing Calyrex. Because you can take those Astral Barrages. It's good against, you know, you have that Max Darkness special defense traps, which a Sash Calyrex would greatly appreciate, because now you're giving up your damage. So yeah, I mean, I still like the AV on here, but if you want to put the Life Orb on any of these, feel free to do so. But let's just make this second version real quick, and there it is. Okay, so Sash Calyrex, the brand new Calyrex, I like to say, and then everything else is still relatively standard. I'm trying to remember, there was a player who also had the same 6 as this, but it escapes me. But anyway, if you know who it is, let me know. But yeah, this is it. So now let's just go ahead and test it in some battles. Alright, now actually before we do the battles, I just want to show a quick few calcs that are necessary here. So again, here's Groudon, here's Kyogre. This is 253, 252, Modest Kyogre Mystic Water. With the light screen on switch in with Groudon, you live the Water Spout, and then you proc your berry potentially, so this way you can take another one, right? I think that's really good. Like even if he doesn't high roll it, if he doesn't high roll it, you can take another one regardless, and then your berry procs, right? If he goes over the threshold and he high rolls it, then your berry procs, and then you can still take another one just fine. So knowing that, you can even like drop the Spadef a little bit and invest more in the attack stat. But I think 76 attack on Groudon is very good. You don't want to sacrifice too much of that special defense. I think you need a little bit. But yeah, that's the main calc with Groudon here. Now let's just go ahead and show the Venusaur one. Okay, so now if we show the Landers calc real quick, so now if he goes for Fly, it's almost dead. It actually dies. But again, Dynamax. Even without the screens here, we can live the airstream. But if we have Reflect up, look how well we take it. It's really, really nice. And then we proc the policy. This becomes +2. All right, and now our G-Max Vinelash does a lot of damage, and we can just KO it next turn when we swap in the Groudon and kill the Lando. But the other thing is, if it's Life Orb, okay, if it's Life Orb, we still live that airstream, so we're chilling. The Venusaur is still not gonna die just yet. But now if I show you the Thundurus, let's show that calc real quick. So Thundurus. All right, let's go. All right, let's just make it AV Thundurus, right? So no one's running this. Well, maybe some, but not too many. Let's go 252, 252. Okay, no Reflect, right? Dynamax. All right, well, we'll keep the AV, right? Let's say it's this much investment. So 75, and then again with the Life Orb. Okay. Thundurus. With Fly, there's our Venusaur. We actually live even without the screens, but click Reflect. Look at this. 252 Life Orb, Thundurus Max Airstream. So cool calcs to have on hand. Just understand you can live the airstream from both of them. And then if you wanna, and if you're curious, what about like Tornadus? The Life Orb Tornadus, this is a normal set. If they, again, with the light screen, or even without it, if we're max and he's max, we can live the airstream from the Tornadus. And if he decides to go 252, 252 like a pleb, okay, he has just a 12.5% chance to kill. But if we have the light screen, we're chilling. We have the +2. We can get our Vinelash off and on whatever it is he brings in. But yeah, so we live all the airstreams from all 3 genies. That's the main thing. What about like Incineroar, Flare Blitzes? Let's take a look at that. Let's say Goggles Incin, right? 4 attack Incin. No, so let's say he's not max. So Flare Blitz again. Do I live this? Oh no. All right, 75% chance to kill with Reflect though. Okay, so that one I can live relatively comfortably. All right. What about like Zacian? Let's look at the Zacian set here. So with Dynamax, that almost kills me. That pretty much one-shots me, but still with the Reflect, okay, guaranteed to hit KO. We're fine, and we can just Quake it. Even if we don't have our policy proc, we still do a lot of damage into it, and then Calyrex just finishes the game from the back. All right, so those are the main calcs on hand. So now we can go ahead and take a look at some battles. Okay, so this is almost a mirror matchup, but he has an Umbreon and then a Lecky. Okay, so this is a little annoying, and there's Yveltal, a very, very problematic matchup. So 2 dark types. Calyrex is not going to want to like this, but there is a way, as long as I can, position the Thundurus in a good way. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead the Grimmsnarl, and I'm going to lead the Thundurus. And there's the Groudon, there's the Umbreon. So he tried to respect the Calyrex by leading the Umbreon. Now he could be going for something silly like Yawn, which I want to try and punish by going for superpower. So this way I can chip it, and then go for like Spirit Breaks, and possibly knock this out, because I don't want this Umbreon on the field. So I go for the Reflect instead, just to mitigate some damage. He actually has a Chople Berry. I can't believe this Umbreon has a Chople Berry. The Groudon misses the Stone Edge, which is very fortunate. So he did go for Yawn. I knew he would go for something silly. But I do want to switch out here, double swap actually. I'm going to go into my own Groudon, and I'm going to go into my Calyrex, and hopefully he goes for another Stone Edge, and that's not going to do a lot to Groudon. I am taking a risk here because he could easily click a Dark move in the Grimmsnarl slot, but he didn't. So now I'm just going to max. He actually maxes the Umbreon, which is insane. So I go for Phantasm. I get those defense drops that I talked about, and I go for the P-Blades, and it does some damage. Alright, there's the darkness, and we do live because Umbreon just doesn't do that much damage. But here I can go for another Phantasm into the Groudon, and that does a lot of damage. And then from here I go for a P-Blaze. I missed the Groudon, so Groudon doing what it does best, which allows the Groudon to go for Max Quake, and then he gets off another Max Darkness, and there goes my Calyrex, right? So all is not lost. I still have my own Grimmsnarl. The Groudon does protect. Alright, I go for another P-Blaze. I knock out the Umbreon. Okay, so there's that. And then from here he goes into Charizard, right? So what I can do is I can go for Scary Face. It already shows. I can go for Scary Face and go for Rock Slide. All right, there's no max, so I'm fairly confident about this. The Groudon doesn't die, and at the time, I only had my old Groudon spread. I had about 28 attack investment, and a lot of it went into special defense. And it was after this battle that I made the adjustment in the EV spread that I showed you, where I put the Groudon to first bump. And I think that's important because I pick up this KO and a couple others if I invest just a little bit more attack. This Groudon has Fire Punch. I don't know why. But anyway, so Grimmsnarl is looking really good in this end game here. So there's the Rock Slide. We finally get rid of the Groudon. Okay, so now it's just Yveltal against Grimmsnarl, and Grimmsnarl is winning this all the time. See what I mean? So the Yveltal lived the Rock Slide. Alright, but yeah, that was a good Sun Mirror. I can't believe he Dynamaxed the Umbreon instead of the Yveltal, but, you know, whatever. I'll take the dub. Okay, so this is Palkiazation. So, again, this is another instance where, you know, maybe Grimmsnarl has some use. So again, I'm gonna lead Grimmsnarl plus something aggressive, and that's kind of the formula I've been noticing, you know, that you want to try and do. You don't want to lead two passive mons, right? So it's always Grimmsnarl plus something aggressive. So this way, whatever you have that's aggressive can hide behind screens, okay? And then your big sweeper can come in from the back with screens still already there. All right, so I'm gonna go with the Venusaur here. I feel like even though he's got a Landorus and a Palkia, a Landorus or a Tornadus, I can still hide behind my light screen and still deal a lot of damage because I have weakness policy. So I max the Venusaur. I go for the light screen just to mitigate all of this damage. So Vinelash still does a lot, and there's the Spatial Rend doesn't do much. There's the Expanding Force. We do live it. It's super effective, and there's our policy, right? This is what I'm talking about. So now he's really, really scared. The Indeedee goes for Protect. I'm going for Max Quake because I thought that would kill. Just to get my special defense up more. Probably should have just went into the Palkia, but I planned it for Spirit Break, so I feel like it was still okay. Alright, here's the Lando, right? So, you know, I could always, I can't Scary Face it, so I'm just going to have to at least try and knock out the Indeedee and just get a Reflect up. So this way, whatever I have in the back can finish the game with screens up. So there's the Lando Max. The Indeedee clicks Follow Me as expected. I get the Reflect up, and we knock out the Indeedee. So 2 KOs by Venusaur. That's all I want. But this guy, for some reason, went for Airstream and the Grimmsnarl. Maybe anticipating I max guard. But yeah, now it's just Zacian coming in, and we're totally chilling. I'm going to go for Groudon, get my speed boost. I have the weakness policy, and Weather Ball just absolutely annihilates the Zacian. He kills my Venu, but too little, too late. I've got the screens. Groudon's here, and I have the Calyrex in the back, so, you know, that was GG. I'm surprised he didn't protect the Zacian there, but, you know, to each their own. Let's look at another. Okay, so here's the Kyogre matchup, right? The epic Kyogre versus Groudon team, and it's with Zacian, the Swordfish. Now, here's the thing. His entire team just loses to Thundurus, almost, besides the Zacian, because the Venusaur is weak to Airstream. The double Genies are... Well, at least one of the Genies is weak to Max Lightning. So is the Kyogre. The Urshifu is weak to Max Airstream. Everything here is weak to Thundurus. So I'm just going to lead this and bring the Groudon. So this way I have weather control. And then Calyrex just comes in the back and does the job at the end. Alright, so here we go. He goes Urshifu and Thundurus. I go my own Thundurus, and I'm going with Groudon here. So he could potentially switch in his Kyogre. I don't think he does that though. What wants to take a Max Lightning? So we both max. I win the speed tie potentially. There's the Sash, and Groudon is now faster than the Thundurus. We go for the Rock Slide, and the main threat to Calyrex is gone. Alright, and then he goes for his own Airstream, and Groudon takes it very, very well. So that was a good turn. Okay, so now from here he goes into Tornadus. So now he could, you know, go for Tailwind, and now his Thundurus is faster, but I'm not scared. I can just, you know, remove one of these things and then Groudon is still chilling here. So there's the tail. He goes for Max Darkness. I have no idea why he clicked that. I'm very surprised he did that. All I wanted to do was go for Max Knuckle and make my Groudon stronger. So if I knew he was going to do that, I would have just Airstreamed and won the game from there. I actually missed the Rock Slide, and we don't even kill the Thundurus. So I was very sad about that. But he goes for Airstream. But again, it doesn't really help him. He goes for a Hurricane there. He's chipping me down a little bit. There's the Life Orb as we reveal. But he wasn't sashed. So, and then I miss another Rock Slide. Like, come on, Groudon. What the heck? Alright, so he still has 2 turns of Tailwind. And he changed my weather, so I have to protect my Groudon. And I died to a Foul Play. But that's okay. Alright, because I'm just trying to stall out his Tailwind here. Because I know in the end I have the faster Mon. So I'm going to protect my Calyrex here, get out my Groudon so I can change the weather later, swap in the Venusaur. Again, there's the Foul Play, it's not going to do anything. And our Venusaur is bulky, so we take this Water Spout, okay. Alright, I go into Groudon, and, you know, very easily I could have just clicked Astral Barrage. And I probably should have just did that. I don't know why I needed to switch in Groudon here, but, you know, I didn't want to have this Kyogre do something. So, looking back, I probably should have just clicked Astral Barrage. I don't know why I switched it out. Alright, but anyway, Weather Ball comes out. We killed the Thundurus. And now all there's left is just the Venu, and it just goes down. But yeah, there's an Ice Beam. That doesn't matter. Alright, Groudon wins the end game anyway. And even if it didn't, we had Calyrex in the back. So I made a mistake by switching out the Calyrex. I didn't think that was necessary. I probably would have just killed him with Astral Barrage. I wasn't thinking there, but we still ended up winning the game. Alright, let's keep on going. Okay, so this is another Palkia matchup, and he has quite a few things that are weak to Incin, or don't want to take a Fake Out and have their Sash broken. So I think he might even lead his own Incin. So of course I'm gonna go Thundurus. I'm gonna go with my own Incin, just in case there's like a Regieleki that comes out, or even if there's an Amoonguss. You know, an Amoonguss Palkia lead wouldn't be very good. So there's that. So I think Incin and Thundurus is the play. So Thundurus comes out. Here's my Incin. He goes for Zacian and he goes into Regieleki. So this is actually really good because 1, I intimidate the Zacian, and 2, I have Fake Out pressure on the Aleki. Now the Aleki can max. I understand that. But I don't think you would want to click down on Incineroar. I can just easily swap in my Groudon. So I'm very curious as to what this Aleki would do. So I max my own Thundurus. Zacian clicks Protect, that was expected. We do click Fake Out on the Aleki. Alright, and there's my Airstream. I just wanted to chip the Zacian, get a little bit faster, so this way Calyrex can come in the end game and win. He actually goes for a Screech, and gives me a Defiant boost. Again, these guys are doing some weird stuff here. I just wanted to Knuckle, give my Incin an attack boost, and KO the Zacian. But I actually live with the Thundurus, so this is why we go bulky. And there's the Zacian, and there goes his hopes and dreams, and we win the game from there. So again, good synergy with Zacian, and with Thundurus and Incin, take out that Zacian there. But that was just my opponent was expecting that to kill. That's why he did it. But you know, oh well, he didn't know that we have Cloverbell's EVs on this channel. So much for that. Alright, so this is another Palkia team. So many Palkia teams. And this one has Indeedee and the Calyrex. So again, Thundurus looks like a good lead. You know, he might want to bring the Indeedee. It might have something stupid like Shadow Ball. Where's Neil? Where's Neil in his Shadow Ball Indeedee? But Thundurus looks really good again. Just to drop defenses, special defenses, and have Calyrex win in the end game. But I'm going to go bulky first. So here's my Grimmsnarl. Here's my Thundurus. So it's Indeedee Palkia. So this could be Follow Me Trick Room. Alright, I very much expect it. So I'm going to go for the Max Darkness plays. There's my Light Screen. I'm going for the Max Darkness to deal big damage. And there it is. Palkia's special defenses are dropped and he goes for Trick Room. Helping Hand. So I go for Spirit Break. I think he forgot that's how that interaction works. I am now slower than the Palkia. And then I can get that Spirit Break off. And then the Spatial Rend doesn't do that much obviously after that. And then, you know, I couldn't go for Airstream, so I have to at least just go for Darkness. But we removed the Restricted, and the Indeedee isn't doing that much. And now we just remove it all together with Darkness. So 2 Mons down after our max. Okay, he can still max. He has the Calyrex, he has the Torkoal. Alright, Trick Room is still up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is swap out into Incin, trap the Calyrex with -1. I understand the Torkoal can go for Eruption, but he actually goes for Yawn instead. Alright, I have no idea why he did that, but he crit my Incineroar, so what was the point of setting up screens and Intimidate if he's just going to crit me? But he removes my Incin with the Body Press, and he actually goes for a Quake, which is quite funny because, you know, if he just went for Hailstorm, he would have been fine, but, you know, either way, now I can bring in my own Grimmsnarl again and just chip the Torkoal even more, so I know that the Calyrex can win the game, and chip this Calyrex, so this way he doesn't live Astral Barrage. And there's the Hailstorm again, so I get the free switch. Alright, he yawns again, but again, you know, what is all of this doing? You know, everything is being in range of Calyrex, and that's exactly what we want. Here's the end game. He protects that, but that doesn't do anything because Astral Barrage with Life Orb absolutely annihilates Torkoal from that range. Alright, and I'm hiding behind screen, so there's nothing he can do, and he's neutral. So all he can really do is just surrender here. And I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Oh, he gives me the kill. So there it is. This Calyrex wins the game. Alright, one more. Okay, so this is the mirror with Groudon and Venusaur and with Zacian. So his name is Zacian. So basically, Incin looks really good into everything here, right? It looks good into his own Incin, his own Zacian, his own Venusaur. I have Fake Out on the Alecki. And even the Groudon doesn't want to be lead into Incin, and then I have the Thundurus, right? So yeah, all I have to do is just get rid of the Grimmsnarl and the Incin, and I should be okay. So I go with Thundurus, I go with Incin, he leads Zacian and his Incineroar. So this is actually a really good turn 1 because I can't believe he led Zacian like this. I know he led the Incineroar to respect the Calyrex, but now Thundurus looks really strong. So of course I'm just gonna max it. Alright, Zacian protects. Alright, I go for Airstream. He didn't go for Fake Out. I went for Parting Shot to Zacian. So I could have Throat Chopped that Incin there, right? No, understand that the Zacian could have protected. But I go into Calyrex here. Because I'm going for my special defense shots. He maxes the Alecki. Alright, so there's the Airstream into the Alecki. That does good damage, honestly. And he max lightnings the Thundurus instead of the Calyrex. So he doesn't double in. Alright, he max guards. I just want to break the sub and go for Astral Barrage because I'm pretty sure it can finish it from this range, but it doesn't even break the sub, unfortunately for me. So now I have to take a Behemoth Blade, but at least I survive thanks to my tiny bit of bulk. Alright, Zacian protects again, but I keep it honest with the Wild Charge into it. But again, I still have Astral Barrage, and that just removes the Alecki after the special defense drops. Alright. And then he just surrenders. I thought he could have just played it out. You know, you still got, like, I'm gonna die next turn. If you just, you know, did he protected, right? Oh, okay, so he can't protect next turn because I was gonna say, you know, he could just protect this turn and then I damage whatever comes in. I die to my own Life Orb chip, but you know, I don't see how you're beating Groudon from there. But yeah, I thought he could have just played it out, but he didn't. So there's that. So again, this is the Life Orb variant of Calyrex that we've been using. And again, I think this version, the second one, even though we didn't use it, I think this one is a little bit better right now just because, you know, you can survive one hit and you have that fast Will-O-Wisp pressure on, you know, on your Calyrex, and then everything else is still relatively standard. If you want to put the Life Orb on one of these mons, I guess you can put it on the Venusaur. I don't think you want it on the Thundurus on this kind of team because you do still want the Assault Vest. Comes in really handy against Palkia, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, tell me which one you like. Do you like the Life Orb Calyrex squad or do you like the Focus Sash one? Because, you know, it's debatable. Pros and cons for both. But overall, I like the 6. I think it functions really well. I think Calyrex Groudon is a really good archetype. And you saw it. A lot of times we either Dynamax the Venusaur or the Thundurus. I think it was only one game where I maxed the Calyrex, and I didn't max the Groudon at all. I didn't find any opportunity to go for Swords Dance and whatnot. It was all Thundurus, Venu, Calyrex, and hiding behind Grimmsnarl screens. So yeah, let me know what you think of the squad that we built. We'll be back with another Series 12 team building video. And again, if you're interested in team fixing, that is a tier 2 sub on the channel. So if you want, join the channel, submit a paste to me. I'll optimize it and fix it based on how I deem it fit. But if you're interested in team building, where you and I sit in a Discord call and we build the team from scratch, kind of like how I did with this video. That is a tier 3 sub, so feel free to join the channel and do that. Very, very affordable, okay? And you might as well, now's the best time, right? Because the format is almost starting. We're just, I think, almost, what is it, like a week and a half away? So yeah, consider it. All right, but until then, have a good one.